Hey guys, so this one is on a path basically to true righteousness. And no, we don't have to be perfect. Okay? We don't. But he just calls us to do better. And so this was one that back whenever Judah was you know, and basically all most of Israel was not going towards what God wanted, but then ended up turning to things again that are not at all what He called us to do. And so this is Micah 2:6, 2 about 8 or 9, something like that. Do not prophesy. Their prophets say, do not prophesy about these things. Disgrace will not overtake us. Should it be said, O house of Israel, is the Spirit of the Lord angry? Does he do such things? And this is the Lord, do not my words do good to him whose ways are upright. Yeah, our words do have a lot of impact on what people turn to. And even when I was in that mindset, I wasn't, I need to lead people better to Christ rather than stuff that was absolutely horrible. And so, I've needed to, change my ways too. We all, have these, things. And, sometimes we hear what we want to hear instead of what we need to hear. This was their basically call for, desire for, these false prophets, which is just going after what people, want to hear just to please the people. And trust me, I've been there. But, just because somebody's doing something doesn't always make it right. And calling to be more faithful to the Lord's will on things, this one, Isaiah 1:27, 28 to 29, something like that. Zion will be redeemed with justice, her penitent ones with righteousness, but rebels and sinners will both be broken, and those who forsake the Lord will perish. Yeah, I mean, it is serious. And, it's just, again, doing things even when it's hard, even whenever everybody's doing something, it takes a lot of courage to say, hey, I don't want to do this, and definitely God helping with that, because in this world there are so many things that can lead you astray. And again, I've been one of them, and that was on me. But just trying to do better, trying to do better. And so the recognition of true religion and righteous living, Psalm 40. Sacrifice and offerings that doesn't desire, but my ears you have pierced. Burnt offerings and sin offerings, and you do not require, even though definitely carries forward. But it says that he wants, our obedience even more than these sacrifices. And, just again trying to do better on what he has called us to do. Proclaim righteousness in the great assembly. Don't seal my lips. Don't hide, his righteousness in his heart. He speaks his faithfulness and salvation, doesn't conceal his love and truth from the great assembly. But when you do it in the right ways, it will definitely help people be brought back to him. It's like whenever the true neighbor, when Jesus is talking about, okay, there were 3 people who were had these 3 scenarios, and he's like, which one is the true neighbor? 2 of them passed by whenever this person was you know, really, really hurt. And then the third one showed true compassion to him and, you know, was righteous because he was doing something out of love and care for that, you know, person, and, you know, standing up for what is right, you know. And trust me, I still had to, you know, do better on that too. But and so the book of the law being found, this is such a cool one. So 2 Kings 22:8. This is kind of 2 Chronicles part though. 34:14 to 15. While they were bringing out the money that had been taken from the temple of the Lord, with Hilkiah, you know, because they, verse before this, the men did their work faithfully. Over them was to direct them with Jahath, Obadiah, Levi's descendants from Merari, and Zechariah, and Meshullam descendants from Kohath. The Levites, all of whom were skilled in playing music instruments, had charged of the laborers and supervisors of the work from job to job. Some Levites were secretaries, scribes, doorkeepers. Again, we've all got things that are a part of the body of Christ. And so whenever they were, whenever the Lord was asking to, you know, build this temple, and so they ended up finding the Book of Laws. And so it was really cool. And so whenever 2 Kings 23:1-2, you know, called together all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem, and you know, they went up to the temple of the Lord, and so he read, and hearing the words of the Book of the Covenant, it was restored with them. And, you know, this covenant was renewed where, you know, it was like, you know, there was just this fire for him to want to do his will. And, you know, it's just crazy and super cool. You know, and so, you know, and so, you know, just, again, righteousness, yeah, doing things, when it comes to self-control and, you know, being grateful for everything, showing love in everything, being faithful to the Lord, you know, anything that can be a light to this world is definitely going to help. And no, we're not going to be perfect, but it's worth trying to strive for, you know, that relationship with him, because it really will impact every single aspect of your life when we let him in. So just I love it. All right, love you all, and I will see you in the next video.